Okay guys, I promised you I would do an update on this Canik Rival S. If you watched my last video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the first time we took this out to an IDPA match after I got it ported, we ran a match before it was ported, and it ran great, of course, factory. And then I had it ported, and I ran a few rounds through it. It worked great at home, and then I took it to a match and started having problems. It was kind of cold that day, but I started having problems right out of the gate where I had some jams and double feeds. It's mostly like failures to completely extract the round, which would cause a jam or a double feed. So we saw several of those in that first match with the gun ported. But I wanted to update you. I shot a match last night with this, and I'll probably include the footage and we'll talk about it a little bit. Although it was only about 60-70 rounds, so we ran through it last night. Like I said, I'll include the footage. But although it was only about 60-70 rounds, it ran flawlessly. And these matches, I promise you guys, if you think your gun runs good and you really want to check it, take it to a match, because every problem known to man that your gun can have, that's when it's going to have it, is at a match. For some reason, running it fast, running it in front of people, running it in different environments, I don't know what it is, but you can shoot at the house all day and it run perfect, and you take it to a match, it's going to show its problems, okay? Show its true colors. But yeah, the gun ran great. I'm just wanting to update you. So, like we said before, it had the original Canik factory spring in it. The last IDPA match I shot before last night, and it did horrible with that spring in it. Because I think one thing, because it was cold, and another thing is because the spring was just too strong for a ported barrel, okay? When you tend to port these things, you need to tune the springs to make it run properly. But anyway, yeah, it ran great last night. We had no failures to extract. The gun ran super smooth. It was returning to zero beautifully. No problems at all. If you'll watch my footage, you'll see on stage 3, I was able to do basically 3 transitions, a draw and 3 transitions on 3 targets from closer to further. And I was able to do that in under 3 seconds with still very good accuracy. So, under 4 seconds, I'm sorry. But I was able to do 2 shots on a target at 5 yards, 2 shots on a target at 10 yards, and 2 shots on a target at 15 yards in under 4 seconds from the draw. That wasn't with the gun low and ready, that's from the draw. And under 4 seconds for 6 shots at 3 different targets. I mean, you can't beat that. It would be hard for me to do that with any gun, even including my masterpiece ported. It would be really hard for me to even do that good. I think I could. I'm not saying it wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that this gun ran just as good as I could my more expensive guns. It would be hard pressed for me to do it that quickly. And so I'm very impressed with what it will do. Now last night, if you watch the footage, I made several mistakes. One of my biggest problems is I decided that instead of dry fire training and live fire training behind the house, I would tinker with my guns, because I almost enjoy that more than shooting in some ways sometimes. And I tinkered a lot with my guns. I did a lot of upgrades this last month instead of dry firing training and practicing at home, practicing my draws, practicing acquiring my dot. And it showed last night. It really did show its face. I had a few times, 1 or 2 or 3 times. I know I had at least 2 times, but I remember it in the footage. But I had about 2 or 3 times that I would draw the gun and I would kind of have a hard time finding my dot. One being the very first stage, first time I drew it, because I haven't been practicing for over a month. So yeah, that kind of showed its face a little bit. But we also had a tactical reload on the first stage. I decided to do a tactical reload. For those of you not in IDPA, that means you don't drop the magazine on the ground. You pull the mag out, or you drop the mag in your hand, and then you pocket the mag and you grab the new mag. Well, I utterly failed at that, and it was a bad idea. And once I did it, I realized it was dumb. It's a lot better to for those of you who know, it's a lot better to go the 10 rounds and drop the mag and just put a new mag in it. So leave the empty mag on the ground. For all of you that know how kind of aggravating sometimes IDPA rules can be when it comes to dropping mags, I don't fully understand that, because I think in a real world situation, if you drop the mag and you got another one, you wouldn't care to pick it up or put it in your pocket. You would just drop it. I think I would. Anyway, that's a debate for another time. But the gun ran flawlessly. Remember, it had the stock 15-pound guide rod spring, and we put in it had the Canik 15-pound or 16-pound guide rod spring, and we put in a 13-pound Canik Glock 17 spring, I should say. Let me show you that real quick, because I did not show, and I want to show how dirty this gets after about 60-70 rounds, because I'm sure people would ask, well, how dirty does that barrel get? And this is the spring. I'll show you the factory spring. Okay. This is the Canik factory spring that it came with. And this is a Glock 17. Glock 17 13-pound guide rod spring, so it's a lighter weight than the Glock standard spring, but it's a 13-pound. And it fits good. It's way cheaper than buying a Canik spring. And it came with the guide rod. You can actually take the end off and put lighter springs or heavier springs on this. It's captured, but works out really good, and I think I paid around $15 for this. But anyway, I wanted to show you that. Let's show you the barrel real quick. While we're at it, I'll show you that it does get indeed very dirty, as you can see. This is what a ported barrel will look like. And that's a nice pretty chrome color when it's clean, and it actually cleans pretty easy. But with these ports, it's a little bit harder to clean than it would be without them, for sure. Because that powder burn does tend to kind of set in pretty good. But yeah, this port is keeping the gun, I would say, 40%, 30 to 40% flatter than it was factory. And to be honest with you guys, this gun is already one of the flattest non-ported, non-comped guns you can buy in a striker fire gun, just because of its weight and the way they kind of designed the slide and everything with the cuts. It's a very flat gun, very nice gun to shoot, very soft. I would say it's more soft than flat. Flat might not be a good word, but now that it's got the ported barrel, it is soft and flat. It shoots a little bit softer and quite a bit flatter. I was able to get those double taps yesterday pretty good, and it seemed like the gun will settle because you're using this lighter spring. Because we're using the lighter spring, the gun, instead of the gun reciprocating, let's take this, I'll show you. So instead of the gun reciprocating and coming up and then the spring pushing it back down and it kind of bouncing a little bit with the muzzle, the gun would just come back and kind of settle straight. So when you shoot quickly, you would see the dot come right back to where it was, which is what makes the properly tuned, comped, and ported guns so wonderful and so great to shoot. People complain about how loud they are and things, but when you actually shoot one and you get used to it, it's kind of hard to go back to just a normal regular gun. You can kind of see how dirty it is in here too. Not too bad. Definitely needs a good wipe down for sure. But anyway, guys, hope that answers your questions. If you have any more questions, please comment below. The barrel was ported by Mac Defense, in case you want to know. We've done a lot of other upgrades, but that's also in my other video. I just wanted to talk about how it handled last night. And I will include the footage to show you how it did yesterday in the match. And just understand, I had a bad tactical reload. I had several times where I couldn't find the dot, and that was a lack of practice. I had a couple stages where I was just moving slow. So that's part of it, and that's why we need to practice. But when I created this YouTube channel, I really wanted to be more about gun content. So instead of focusing on, I'm going to try to stop getting kind of down when I don't do so good at IDPA. Instead of focusing on always trying to be the best, I'm going to try to get better. But I also want to shoot multiple guns because I want to bring content to you guys. One of my favorite channels on YouTube, he would take guns to Steel Challenge. He would take the guns to Steel Challenge and different guns all the time and review. So it was like out of the box match review of a gun. And it was one of my favorite channels because it wasn't fabricated YouTube videos where they took the best footage. They shot 1,000 rounds and they took the best 80 rounds of the footage and put it into a YouTube video, and they said, talked about how wonderful the gun is so that they could get partners with these gun manufacturers, you know. And that's what a lot of these big channels do. But when you see somebody shooting the match, you know the gun does exactly what they're saying because it's a match. It's getting watched, it's getting reviewed, it's getting timed, it's getting scored. So you get to see what guns actually get to do, which is what I kind of want to do, is at least take my 3 or 4 or 5 best guns that I carry or that I shoot competition with and take them to matches randomly and give you updates on those. And maybe take the guns I won't take to matches and maybe give you a little bit of shooting footage and kind of review those and talk about, you know, when I've shot them over the years. That's kind of been my goal with this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, the Canik's been doing a lot better since we changed that spring weight. Okay, guys? And I don't see no issues. Some of the Caniks, we'll include this information too. Some of the Caniks have problems with the magazines over inserting and the slide getting hung up on the magazine, but my Canik has yet to show any problems with that. I'm not saying it's not happening at all, but I haven't seen no evidence of it with my shooting or in a match, so I'm pretty happy with that because I'm not seeing those issues that other people were talking about. Trigger is fantastic. I told you I upgraded it. It's a very short pull. You can see how far that moves. The trigger travel moves. Very nice. Very nice. Well, guys, God bless. Y'all have a nice day, and we'll catch you later.